The Osmo 360 is the first 360 camera released by DJI, and it's a direct competitor to the X5 from Insta360. I spent the last several weeks testing out both of these cameras, taking a ton of footage. I'm going to share what I like and don't like about each camera to help you decide which camera is right for you. My affiliate links for both of these cameras is down in the description. If you decide to purchase either one of them, I'd appreciate it if you use them. It really helps support the channel. Thanks. After shooting hours and hours of video with both of these cameras and then spending hours and hours going through all of that footage, I can confidently say that one of these cameras is better than the other, and it's not for any of the obvious reasons. Both cameras have excellent image quality, excellent audio, they're both built well, but there is a unique problem that's been reported about the Osmo 360 that you'll want to know about, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Here's side-by-side footage of the X5 and the Osmo 360. Both images look good. The X5 uses dual 1/1.8-inch sensors. DJI went a completely different route with their hardware. They have one 1-inch sensor that's specifically designed for 360 video. Both cameras have very distinct color profiles. I'm going to show you which one is which in a minute, but before I do, let me know in the comments, which one do you prefer, A or B? Both cameras are set to the standard color profile. A is more muted, a little bit more natural. B is more bold and saturated. There's a time and place for both looks. In this situation, I prefer B because I want to capture that bold color in the art, but there are times where I like it a little bit more low-key, like A. Time for the big reveal. A is the Osmo 360 and B is the X5. Let's see another side-by-side comparison. Here I'm up in the mountains away from the city. Again, I like them both, and honestly, I had a hard time telling which video came from which camera when I was putting this together. I can still see a difference between them, but it isn't as noticeable as when I was recording the graffiti art comparison. I noticed that sometimes the Osmo 360 had issues stitching together the images. If you look here, it looks like there's some kind of wavy distortion. You're going to get great quality footage from both cameras on a bright sunny day, but what about in low light? The X5 has a dedicated low light mode called Pure Video. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the X5 standard video and Pure Video. The Pure Video image is brighter with reduced noise, and it's able to do this because the X5 has 3 processing chips. It has dual Pro imaging chips and an AI chip. If you're in poor lighting but still in standard video mode, an icon will pop up on the screen suggesting you switch to Pure Video. The Osmo 360 also has a dedicated low light mode called Super Night. Super Night cleans up some of the noise and brings out the highlights. Both cameras do a great job in low light, but you can see a difference in the images, and it just comes back to personal preference. On this channel, I make outdoor content, hiking, camping, overlanding, and video about the gear I use to make those videos. If any of that is interesting to you, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. One big difference with these cameras is the physical design. The X5 is tall and thin. The Osmo 360 is shorter and wider. You can easily navigate the touchscreen of both cameras using one hand. I prefer the feel of the slimmer design of the X5 in my hand. I feel like I have a better grip on it and I'm less likely to drop it. The width of the Osmo 360 could be an issue if you have smaller hands. The horizontal screen on the Osmo 360 is a plus if you record in single lens mode, and that's because when you were in single lens mode, you are not catching a 360-degree image, so making sure you have the shot you want is important. It's harder to see the shot on the X5 in single lens mode because you're only using a section of the screen compared to the Osmo 360 where there is no change in the side of the screen between 360 and single lens mode, so you get a lot more viewing area. Both cameras have 1/4-inch mounts on the bottom, but the Osmo 360 also uses the same magnetic mounting system as the Osmo Action 5. It is really secure and allows you to quickly connect or disconnect the camera from wherever you have it mounted. Insta360 has a similar mounting system for the Ace Pro, but is not compatible with the X5. Something I haven't seen on any of the other DJI cameras is the ability to magnetically charge. If you look here on the bottom of the camera here, you'll see 4 metal dots. You can use the Osmo 360 battery extension rod to charge the camera without using a USB-C cable. Insta360 has the FOMO power handle, and you can get over 6 hours of additional battery power using it, but you do have to connect it to the X5 using the USB-C cable. One feature that the X5 has that the Osmo 360 doesn't is right here. See if you can see it. This is actually a built-in wind guard, and behind there is a microphone. So it does a great job of reducing wind noise, especially when you use it along with the wind reduction audio settings. 360 cameras have these dual lenses that catch a wide field of view, and in between the lenses is the dead spot, and that's where the selfie stick is, so that's why they say it's invisible. But one thing about these lenses is that they are really delicate. They can scratch or break, and if they do, the camera is basically worthless until you get it repaired. That was one of my biggest issues with my X3 and X4, is I was so concerned about damaging the lens that I didn't really use the camera as much as I would have liked. Insta360 fixed that problem with the X5. You can buy a lens replacement kit and replace the lens yourself in just a few minutes. I scratched one of the lenses on my X5 on a recent trip and replaced it at my campsite in about 2 minutes. If I hadn't been able to do that, the camera basically would have been useless. The lenses on the Osmo 360 aren't replaceable, so if you were to scratch it, you'd have to send it off to be repaired. I don't know what the cost of that would be, but at a minimum, you're going to be without your camera for a few weeks if you're lucky. Replaceable lenses are a big deal and a big reason to consider going with the X5 over the Osmo 360. DJI did something I really like when it comes to the battery. The Osmo 360 uses the same battery as the Osmo Action 5. So if you already have a few of those batteries, you don't have to worry about buying extra. The X5 battery is completely different from the Ace Pro battery and isn't even compatible with the X4. The battery specs advertised by the manufacturers is based on the most optimal setting and the most optimal environment, which is typically not how we are going to be using them. Insta360 claims a runtime of 208 minutes when the camera is at 5.7K, 24 frames per second, and has ability to hypercharge, and that means that you can go from a dead battery to 80% in 20 minutes. DJI claims the Osmo 360 has a runtime of 100 minutes at 8K 30 frames per second, and you can go to 190 minutes at 6K 24 frames per second. And they have a fast charge from a dead battery to 50% in 12 minutes. Based on my experience, the battery performance for both cameras was just about the same. Insta360 released an ultra battery for the X5, and that gives it a little bit extra juice. There's something that DJI added to the Osmo 360 that I really appreciate, and I think they're adding it through a lot of their product line, and that is having internal storage. The Osmo 360 comes with 128 gigabytes of storage included, and for me, that can be a lifesaver. There's times where I've forgotten my micro SD card, or maybe I'll get the camera and I don't have the money at the time to go out and buy another micro SD card for my mini cameras, and the ability to be able to take it out right away and start recording is nice. Now 128 gigabytes is not a ton for 360 files, which can be on the large size, but if you record with intention and just don't go out there and just let it run and run and run, 128 gigs is enough to get quite a bit of footage. I've done a ton of recording on the Osmo 360 over the last few weeks, but I still have not bought a micro SD card for it. All I do is go out, do a day or so of recording, come back, transfer it to my computer, free up that space, and go out there and do it again. Both cameras have excellent stabilization. The electronic image stabilization on all action cameras have gotten so good that there's now settings that you can add motion back into your footage. Both cameras are waterproof. The X5 is waterproof up to 15 meters, the Osmo 360 up to 10 meters. But to get the best footage underwater with any 360 camera, you're going to need a dive case. If you don't have the dive case, the footage won't stitch together properly. You can see that here on the Osmo 360. In the beginning of the video, I told you that people have been reporting a unique problem with the Insta360. Fortunately, I haven't had that problem myself, but people have been saying when they take it out into the water or in human environments, the lens has been fogging up on the inside, ruining the footage. So hopefully this is something that they will be taking care of sooner than later. So right now I'm just using the mic in the X5, but I'm going to do a test here with the Mic Air. The Mic Air also works really well. That's one thing I've liked about DJI products. The DJI Mic 2, the Mic Mini, give you great quality, and they just work really well with DJI products. Insta360 came out with their own wireless mic, the Mic Air, and it does just as well as the DJI external mics. It connects really quickly. It works really well with all the Insta360 products that's compatible with, and it is super small and compact, so it is a great option for audio. But if you don't have the Mic Air, like I said, the internal mic is great also if you have it on the selfie stick, so you can get 2-3 feet away from you, and it's gonna do a good job picking up the audio. I'm on my commute home, and this car is pretty quiet, so you should have pretty decent quality audio just using the X5. But I'm going to turn on the Mic Air in a minute. A 360 camera is great if you do car content because you can get 2 views at once. You can get recording the view out of the front of the window at the same time being able to record yourself, and that is something that's hard to do. I do a ton of internal car shots for when I'm doing my Jeep videos, and essentially you have to record for a little bit facing out, then you gotta flip the camera around to try to get your internal shots, or if you want to talk, but you don't have to do that with the 360 camera because you're getting both shots. One thing that I am curious to see about when it comes to the quality, though, is sometimes it can have a hard time exposing properly. Possibility of it being overexposed out the windshield and potentially underexposed inside the car. But I open up the sunroof to get a little extra light in here, and we'll see how the camera does. Being able to get both shots is nice, but it does require a little bit more in the editing process. One feature that the X5 does have is called Insta Frame. That's a great option when you're trying to record car content, but maybe you don't want to do all the extra editing steps. In Insta Frame, through one lens, it is going to record a flat video, so not 360, just your typical flat, 16:9 video, but also at the same time it's recording 360 footage. So when you stop recording, you're gonna get 2 files. You're gonna get that flat file, and you're gonna get a 360 file. That cuts down some of the editing steps, but there is a drawback to that, is that the flat file is going to be at 1080p, and in the 360 video, max resolution is 5.7K plus, so you're not going to get the same 8K resolution as if you were just going to let it record on its own and do all the editing yourself. So that's just kind of the drawback if you decide to use that feature. I just turned on the Mic Air, so now you can hear the difference in the audio quality. One thing I like about the Mic Air is its size is a nice balance between audio quality and simplicity and being discreet. I'm going to switch this setup around. I'm going to put the Osmo 360 up, and I'm going to connect the DJI Mic Mini, and we'll see how they compare. I've switched over to the Osmo 360 now. We can see how well it compares to the X5 and properly exposing the inside of the vehicle to the outside. Right now I'm using just the internal mic on the Osmo 360, but I have the Mic Mini right here. We're gonna do a similar audio test to see if we can hear a difference in the audio quality. Also, I haven't tested out the audio quality on the Osmo 360 in a windy environment outdoors, but inside the vehicle it should be pretty good. I'm now going to turn on the Mic Mini so we can get a comparison. The Mic Mini is connected to the Osmo 360. It was super easy to connect. Like I said earlier, one of the big pluses has been for me the fact that the DJI mics just seamlessly connect to all of their cameras, like the Osmo Action 5 and now the Osmo 360, and Insta360 is catching up with the Mic Air that does a good job. Both cameras have the modes you'd expect. There's photo mode, there's time lapse, there's hyperlapse, there's low light. Neither camera has slow-mo in 8K 360. The max frames per second of the X5 in 8K is 24. The Osmo 360, you can do 8K 50 frames per second, so there you can actually shoot in 50 frames per second and then reduce it to 50% to get some slow-mo. If you really want to do slow-mo footage, you're going to have to switch to single lens mode. In single lens mode, the X5 can record in 4K 60 frames per second. The Osmo 360 has boost mode, which allows it to record in 4K 120 frames per second. There's a cool mode called bullet time on the X5. You spin the camera over your head using the bullet time selfie stick to get this cool shot. The Osmo 360 has a similar mode, but it's called Vortex. I checked the DJI website and didn't see an accessory that would allow you to spin the camera over your head, so I guess you might have to buy Insta360 selfie stick. I'm not sure about that. The X5 has some modes that the Osmo 360 doesn't, like road mode, star lapse, loop recording, insta frame. You can do all these modes on the Osmo 360, but you have to manually set them up. These cameras have great image quality, they have a lot of similarities, but the more I used them and compared them, the X5 started to pull ahead in my opinion. What separated the X5 from the Osmo 360 for me was the little things, like already having these modes set up and established. The Insta360 app has a ton of features to make editing 360 footage so much easier. Editing 360 footage is a lot more work, and anything that reduces that friction is a huge plus in my book. DJI has its own app and it has all the basic features you need to edit 360 footage, but it's just not as refined as the Insta360 app. There are a ton of accessories for the X5 already out and available. You have multiple different types of selfie sticks of varying lengths. There's power banks, there's ND filters, there's the dive case, there's mounts for every sport you can think of, and eventually I imagine there's going to have all that for the Osmo 360, but it just doesn't have the product support yet. After using both cameras, I could tell that Insta360 just has more experience in the 360 camera game. DJI did some things with the Osmo 360 that I really like. The internal storage, the battery, the mounting system, but the ability to replace the lens on the X5 is a big deal and is a must-have feature for me. Insta360 has better software, and with every update they make the sharing and editing process quicker and easier. My two biggest pain points when it comes to 360 cameras is the editing and the lenses, and the X5 addresses them both. I hope this video has been helpful and you enjoy whichever camera you pick.